Good afternoon, Nosa community. Let me get myself together. Oh, good afternoon, Nosa community. I am back. Thanks for hanging out with us this afternoon. So it's September. We're entering the last week of the quarter. And I wanted to come in and jump on and share as I talk to people, whether it be in the community or out and about. A lot of the questions that I get is around how did I do X, Y, and Z. So I decided today to let's talk about it. So feel free to drop your questions below. But what I'm going to talk about today is going to be about how to create your marketing strategy. And we're actually going to get into it in real time. So I'm going to really walk through the steps that we took. Sometimes I don't talk much about it just because it's not as applicable, but nonetheless, let's get into it. And then we're also going to share the video on our YouTube channel. So jump in here. Let us know where you're from. We're excited to be doing something different, as I haven't done a Facebook Live in a little bit of time, but let's get started. So one, I wanted to chat a little bit about how this time of year, I always get myself into something. So, usually I'm talking about setting your goals for 2024, maybe talking about how to restructure your business, take some things, add some things, but really assess your overall business when it comes to healthcare staffing and the industry as a whole. Now, that's not what I'm about to talk about now. I'm about to talk about some of the things I've done because as an individual, so personally, to get me back into that state of mind, because when you've been in business for a long time, and if you haven't switched up your business or decided to do like a few different things, sometimes it gets boring. And you have to really think about, hey, what was the ultimate goal? Why did I decide to do all of this? And what was the lifestyle or type of life I was looking for? So sometimes that involves business. Sometimes it involves personal. They go together, right? But today we're going to talk about something I did recently this month that's more personal. So I don't talk about my personal life a lot here on the channel, but we're just going to talk about this and give it as an example. So maybe 15 years ago, I used to do yoga. And I loved it. It's the most relaxing experience for me based on my personality type. And as time went off, life happened, the pandemic happened. And during the pandemic, I thought that going back to yoga would have been like the best idea, but I just didn't do it. And time went on and I tried, working out in my community center, working out the YMCA, trying different classes. I tried Bear, just trying a bunch of different things. And I did it, because it's necessary to stay healthy and have a balanced life. But it never really gave me what I was looking for until recently. So I say that to say this. Sometimes you have to go back to where you started to kind of get that rhythm, that fire back into you to do what it is that you want to do. And maybe the ultimate goal wasn't to only do staffing. Maybe you wanted to run a CNA school. Maybe you wanted to, get into other elements of the industry. Now is the time to really think about that. But back to my story. I joined a yoga studio here in my area. And I have been going to class 3 to 4 times a week. And I have been doing it so excitedly and so consistently, I am surprising myself. And one of the things that it helps me do is stay grounded in centers. And all my yogis out there can definitely relate in the way that I need it to be for my lifestyle. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes being at home, it can be a little bit tricky because there are tons and tons of content out there that allows you to do those things at home. But I prefer to get up, get out, get outside, get some sun. Not so much today, but get outside and really have a full experience. And one of the things that at the particular studio that I go to that they speak about is being present in the moment. So no cell phones. I do wear my watch because I want to get credit for my time at the yoga session. You know, no shoes, just kind of being present in that moment to get the benefit from that moment. So I hope that helps you guys and gives you a little bit of inspiration. As always, I am not seeing comments here, but we're going to keep the conversation going nonetheless. And if you drop some comments below, I'll reply at a later date. I'm doing it on my iPad, so that might be why I can't see everything. But nonetheless, let's talk about how you can improve your healthcare staffing marketing strategy. So we're going to really talk today about the things that I did. And I'll give you some tips and tricks. I'll share the presentation on the group as well as the actual video where you get the full presentation without all the Shamika ad-libs in our YouTube channel. So let's get into it a little bit. And this is a nice time to do that because many people are looking at your 2024 budgets. You're kind of looking at how the year went so far. You're also maybe identifying areas where you need to have gaps or you need to have any sort of improvements. So looking at your marketing strategy is a good time to do that because you really are making sure you're doing what works and what doesn't work. So here are a couple of tips. It's going to be 8 tips, and I'll touch on what you need to do. But I'll share the presentation for those who are visual learners like myself who want to see it in real time. So 1, you want to introduce your business. So when you think about your marketing strategy, introducing your business out into the field or out into the market is more than just going through the back office process of getting your name through your state, your EIN number, your business insurance, and things like that. That's a part of it. But the introduction to, hey, we're the latest, best, greatest, newest nurse-owned staffing agency in your area is also a big part of the introduction into the industry. So your marketing strategy involves building those relationships with healthcare providers and clients, offering competitive pricing and focusing on quality placements. So that's kind of like a gist of how you can present it when you're newly going out into the industry. You want to make sure that you're sharing with the people in your community about what you're doing and you're introducing it. We're now open, coming soon in the fall, looking forward to connecting with nurses and nursing assistants. You really want to do it. And a great way to do that, and I've seen a couple of nurses do that, is via a video, because that puts a name to a face. So like, what would the NOSA group be if you never saw Shamika? It creates a different type of connection. So you really want to introduce your business to the market. LinkedIn is an amazing place to do that. You want to get individuals like myself, the NOSA group, and all the other NOSAs to share your introduction. You really want it to encompass, hey, this is what I'm doing it and why I'm doing it. So next, you want to touch on the pain points. And we've heard this, whether it be a presentation that I've done or someone else, but you really want to touch on the pain points in real time. So a pain point our industry has had for years is that healthcare staffing is facing a shortage of qualified professionals. That's probably not going to change, but we have a solution. So you want to talk to how your specific agency is solving that problem, period. And you want to do it efficiently and to the point. So you want to make sure that when you're creating your strategy, it's touching on how your agency is doing that. We're on demand. We have a network of X number of healthcare professionals. We have access to these things. We work in this area or this region. We have expertise. Let me say it again. We as NOSAs have expertise and information that's of value to clients because we are nurses who own staffing agencies. So we have an insider look, insider insight into the industry from a nurse perspective. Okay. And of course, we help you find the right staff because we're connected to that network in that way. All right. Number 3, talk about your services. This is a time when you're putting together your strategy, is a time where you don't want to be shy. So talk about your services. Talk about your services from if you're working in a specialty, hey, you know, we're dialysis trained, we're whatever, any sort of certifications that particular specialty may have. You want to incorporate that when you're talking about your services. And the best way to talk about your services is really to identify a target audience. An example. So if a NOSA is talking to me, or a potential NOSA, or it doesn't have to be a NOSA, talking to me about starting a staffing business, and we're talking about their strategy, I encourage NOSAs, and I encourage you guys to stick in the area that you're already in the specialty that you may already be a part of, or that you're strongest at, as many of us have been in a couple of different specialties. Or you can pick a specialty where you have the strongest network. It's the reason I say to do that is because it really allows you to, hey, if I'm a hospice nurse, 9 times out of 10, I know other hospice nurses or dialysis nurses or LTAC nurses or psych nurses. And it's not to say that you can't include the other specialties. It's just to kind of say, hey, if we have to prioritize how I'm going to target things, I'll start in the area where I already have the expertise in the network and then move from there. So identify your target audience. So your target audience from a staffing standpoint of view would be whatever your specialty is at that time. But your target audience from a client standpoint of view would be hospitals, healthcare centers, clinics, things of that nature that need your type of staff. Right? So if you're a correctional nurse and you decide to say, hey, corrections is my specialty, there's a plethora of things that you can do. You can do it at the private, state, local, federal level. They all offer correctional facilities that need nurses. Same thing applies to dialysis. State, local, federal, all have dialysis services, private. And then, you know, you have clinics as well. Clinics will be included in that because